Hello, hello, hello. Zdravo.
Merhaba, yasu, peršendete, zdravite, and bună ziua. Hello, lovely Balkan people. Welcome to another Babylon Balkan Show. Today, we're going to have a close friend of mine. Yeah, nepotism here is involved. just because she has an amazing story about her background. Her name is Lea Surányi. I hope she will be proud of me of how I pronounce her last name. She's coming from Novi Sad. She's part of Hungarian community. She's an amazing individual in her profession, in her career. She's finished the Faculty of Economics and both bachelor and master studies, and she's currently a CRM consultant. She was also a business consultant. She had many positions before in her career, and she's really successful. And plus, she lived and worked and did internships abroad, namely in the US and Germany. That's where I met her, as a fun fact. And I honestly, I suggested to Anna, hey, she's an amazing individual, has amazing storytelling abilities, and she comes to this community, which is unique in the Balkans. And why not having her as a guest? Right,
And
Anna?
I said, yeah, I trust you.
That was enough.
Yeah, because if you say okay, it's enough for me.
Didn't make mistake
Yeah.
by now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, today's episode we talked about being Hungarian minority in Serbia. How was it and how is it right now with Lea's stories. And also, we talked about the other minority groups in Serbia. We talked about other locations that Hungarian minorities live. Uh, what else? We also talked about some politics, some fun stuff, some gossips. So it will be a fun episode for our audience,
Mm.
and we hope you enjoy.
For sure. Yeah. So sit back, stay, lay back, sit, whatever you do. Just be safe as you watch us or listen to us. Again, pay attention and just relax. And when you have any questions, write, comment, subscribe. That would be also a good thing to do. Yeah. It doesn't hurt, doesn't cost. Just click and that's it. And yeah, without further ado, let's start with this episode. Enjoy.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. And here we are back.
Welcome, our lovely guests again, and welcome, Lea, to our lovely show.
Thank you
Hello.
for having me.
It's a pleasure having you here. Where are you right now?
I am at home in Novi Sad.
Oh, nice.
Oh, Novi Sad.
Novi Sad.
Yes, in Serbia, for those
Serbia.
who might not have heard about Novi Sad.
Good that you point out. Usually, before we start officially our episode, we do a little icebreak questions, or just like to set up the mood, so to say. So they're not related to the episode at all. So Onat, if you may take again the lead.
Okay. So my first question in this part is, what was your first memory as a child?
Oh my God. I was expecting, the questions that I heard in multiple episodes before, like, what is your bucket list, items? And I prepared with that one, but I did not
Good
prepare
one.
with
There's a
this
new
one.
season.
That's why we changed.
It's a new season, yeah.
Very good, very good. Oh my gosh, my first memory as a kid. I have no idea. I really could not tell you. Absolutely no idea. Sorry.
It's totally okay. Fine. Then we'll switch to my question, which you probably also prepared, I guess. So if you may say, then I'll make a second question that you probably didn't prepare, but let's do the one. What did you
Okay.
want to be when you grow up?
Oh, I wanted to be, I think, a diplomat. Yes.
Oh.
I wanted to be an ambassador or something like that. So that did not, happen. But it was pretty ambitious as a child.
it's still possible. If you go into some political party, yeah, you never know.
I don't think that's happening.
I know it's not based on merit; it's based on connections. Unfortunately,
Yes,
yeah.
true.
So the second question, which potentially you didn't prepare, hopefully, is who was your role model when you were little? Who did you look up to?
Actually, I think it would be my cousin. So from my mom's side, I have an aunt and I have two older brothers. And they used to be my role models as a kid because they're, I think, about 10 years older than I am. And yeah, they always took good care of me. I always hung out with them a lot as I was, growing up. And yeah,
That's nice.
they were role models for me, definitely.
Like, what are they doing? Like, imagine if I one day had the chance to buy myself alcohol by myself.
Yep.
The possibilities are limitless. Yeah. For our audience, Lea, could you tell us your Balkan backstory? Like, you said you're from Novi Sad. What do you do in life?
Okay. Where do we start?
Wherever you want.
What do I do? So currently I work in IT as a CRM consultant. I previously worked also in IT as, let's say, a website maintenance person, sort of something. I don't, content manager, something like that. It was a lot of different things. But I actually studied economics. And I studied something in Novi Sad that we have that's called European Economics and Business, something like that. And
diplomacy.
Yes.
You see, you're going this
yes,
direction.
Definitely. So I actually wanted to work in a field where I would be doing something like European integrations, things like that. So more like government EU type of project related work. But then I sort of ended up in the IT world.
It pays good.
Yeah. Yes.
And
I do enjoy it. I mean, now this job actually that I'm at right now, it paid off, learning some economics as well. So I wouldn't say it's completely unrelated to what I studied. So yeah, it's good.
And I'm guessing knowing languages also helps a lot. You're proficient in a few languages,
Yes.
as I know.
Yes. I am Hungarian. I was born and raised in Novi Sad. My parents are both Hungarian, and my grandparents, and so back until I can remember that they know of.
Back to ARPA time.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So I speak Hungarian because my parents speak Hungarian. I've learned Serbian as a kid, so basically I was bilingual since I was 2 years old. And then I can speak English, as you can hear.
Obviously, yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. You couldn't tell.
I tell like fake it till you make it.
Yeah. And I studied German in elementary school and high school, and I also went to private German courses. I've been to Germany 6 months doing an internship. So that's how Dusan and I know each other.
What?
Really? Yeah, and I also studied a little bit of Spanish. So yeah, I like learning languages, as you can tell.
Yeah, quite impressive. And in your schools, did you went to also bilingual schools, or how it was it, like elementary, high school?
Yes, so in elementary, well, technically, when I started kindergarten, my parents put me in a Serbian group. So I think I was like 2.5 when I started kindergarten, and my parents thought like, yeah, so it would be nice if the kid went to Serbian group to learn Serbian early on. And after a year, they switched me over to the Hungarian group because in Novi Sad you have, and in a lot of different places in Vojvodina as well, you have like kindergarten, elementary school, and high school options where you can go and study in Hungarian. So after a year, they put me into the Hungarian group, and I cried a lot
Whoa.
that day. Like, it was rough. I did not want to leave my friends, but I made new friends, so that's good.
Yeah.
And then, yes, in elementary school and high school, I went to a gymnasia, like a gymnasium. Yes,
Yeah.
general education. So it wasn't like the math or the language; it was just general.
Mm.
And I studied both in Hungarian, but then, of course, university, I studied in Serbian. So.
Oh, so the courses were in Hungarian, your elementary and high school, right?
Yes, we did have like all of our studies, all of the subjects were taught by Hungarian teachers in Hungarian, except of course Serbian, which we also had, and then English, German, whatever.
Yeah.
So those were in those
But
languages.
how was the switch from going from completely having classes in Hungarian, also studying maths, physics, so on,
Yeah.
in Hungarian, switching to having economics purely in Serbian?
It was, I'd say it was hard, and I did not think it would be that hard because I've been speaking Serbian since I was a kid, and it wasn't, anything especially hard for me. It was natural, very much. But university is 10 times harder than high school. So,
And on top, language is
yeah,
like makes
so
additional difficulty. Yeah.
it made it a bit difficult, and the first year was a struggle, but then, I got the hang of it, so it was fine, I guess. In the end, I finished my master's degree, so here we are.
Perfect. You see, I mean, I know it was difficult, but imagine like there are a lot of colleagues in Serbia coming from Africa and having to study Serbian 1 year before they start their studies in Serbian.
Yeah.
So for them, it was like a completely different planet. So like, yeah, even harder. You said
Maybe
like, yeah.
maybe we can also mention why there are a lot of Hungarians in Vojvodina, Novi Sad. What is the backstory of it for
Yeah.
people like
Good
me?
question. Good question. Good question. I was about to ask this because it was like transitioning for people to understand. Lea can also say there are not so many actually Hungarians in Novi Sad itself, but in the
Correct.
northern part of Vojvodina, so this province of northern Serbia, there are many, right?
Yes. So I don't actually know how many Hungarians there are in Novi Sad. But yes, for sure, Novi Sad is like the second biggest city in Serbia, and there's a lot of people, but not a lot of Hungarians. But if you go up north, Subotica has a lot of Hungarians, and also like smaller towns and villages have a lot of Hungarians all over Vojvodina. But then if you go down towards the south, towards Belgrade, then again you would like be losing the amount of Hungarians. Under Belgrade, there's really no Hungarians left. But as for how and why, I think I'd leave Dusan the history lesson.
Correct. It's you're correct. Around Pančevo, like it's a city east from Belgrade. There's also a couple of communities, Hungarian communities, which is unusual.
Yeah.
Mostly islands, but mostly Subotica and going to Romania area. So this between Hungary, Romania, and Serbia, this area,
Yeah.
quite a lot. Yeah, but in Novi Sad, because it's a capital of this province. And people just are just drawn into it, so you have the community. It was much bigger 100 years ago for sure. Novi Sad was predominantly Hungarian and German, and to some extent Serbo-Croatian, and as the changes went and the countries changed and the demographics changed, but there was still strong community still living in Novi Sad. I would say just a few percent, but nevertheless, when I met Lea, I was like, "Ooh, you're one of the rare ones." Oh, cool! For me, it's like, wow. Yeah.
I mean, when I was a kid in elementary school, there was 10 of us in class, and I think in Novi Sad, 4 elementary schools had a class of Hungarian kids. Now it's 3 schools that have Hungarian kids. And usually it's about 5 to 6 kids that are in a class. So it's really drastically dropped even from when I was a child. For the high schools, I think the ones that were available for me when I started high school and the ones that are available now, it's the same, but I wouldn't know really how much how many kids are there in a class, but also not only kids from Novi Sad come to high school, of course, to Novi Sad, but from other towns and villages around Novi Sad as well.
So that's the case. I mean, it's actually better to have lesser kids in a class,
Yes.
but nevertheless, when you're in a group, when I get used to a group being 20 and more kids, it's kind of like good to have friendships and stuff, but still you get really bonded when you're just 10 of you, I guess, and the teacher can be more focused on you individually. So by chance, it became actually good for your education in the end.
Yes, for sure, in elementary school. In high school, there was like, I think 20, 22 of us. So high school classes are always bigger, but the elementary school classes are now just, barely surviving, really. So every year it's a struggle to put together a class, because I think under 5 or 4 students, they're not even going to open a class. So it's always a fight.
Yeah, but you're part of elementary school in Novi Sad, which is predominantly Serbian, and you have class within that school, right?
Yes, correct. Yes,
but
that's the same for the high school as well.
But you have interactions with other kids in school besides Hungarians in your class?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you go to the same excursions that the kids go all together. I'd say maybe like rarely we would have like the PE class, the physical education class together, something like that with the Serbian kids. But I mean, you can see them in the hallway and whatever. So
yeah, maybe some crashes.
For sure.
But you never felt isolated, so you were never picked by other ones, or how did it feel in that environment?
The elementary school was, let's say, worse in that way, because I think, little kids are not really aware, and also you're going to an elementary school where everybody goes. So we did get picked on by other kids from Serbian classes, like made fun of because we are Hungarian. But then that completely stopped in gymnasium. It just did not happen. I was never harassed at high school because I was Hungarian. Nobody cared. I don't know if that's just because, gymnasium is like, I don't know, fancy school or whatever, and smart kids go there, or if that's the case in every other high school, because there's, other options where Hungarian kids could go as well.
Good question. I mean, in my case, how I look at Novi Sad is like the most, how to say, nice behaving city, although it's changing. And people there have better manners than in other cities for sure. Again, there are lots of notable exceptions. But in elementary school, kids, they pick up on everyone. If you're fat, tall, small, have, I don't know, crooked eyes, whatever. And imagine having different language. Oh, that's like look at them. They're aliens to me.
Well, if they pick you, they will find something.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I guess when you get older and in this community is Novi Sad and surrounding, it's different. Yeah, I'm glad that later on you didn't have those issues with elementary school. I mean, I guess it's the case everywhere.
Yeah, they would have found something else to pick on for sure. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Do you have interactions with? Where are your relatives? They're also in Novi Sad or in other Hungarian parts of Vojvodina, or everywhere?
Yes, everywhere, pretty much.
Okay.
My parents are here in Novi Sad, and my dad is from Senta, which is a bit more up north. And it's a smaller town that has a large Hungarian community as well. My mom is from a small village next to Zrenjanin. So
same part again.
Well, no, one is Bačka, the other one is Banat, so don't mix those two up.
Sorry. There are 3 regions in Vojvodina, yeah.
Yes. And so my mom is from Banat and my dad is from Bačka. And those two parts of Vojvodina, the people, have this little rivalry going on that they don't really like each other. But
people from Banat say if there was no river Tisa, it would be all Banat. But it rhymes in a song, but when I say it in English, it's completely different. But okay.
So my aunts, uncles, cousins, whatever from my dad's side, they still live in Senta, most of them. Then my aunt and uncle from my mom's side, they moved to Budapest, to Hungary, when I was maybe a year old or something like that. So these cousins that I've mentioned before, but those cousins also moved away to other cities in Europe. And then from my dad's side, also some cousins moved away to other cities in Europe. So yes, basically all over the place. My family's all over the place.
But you have the perspective of how they live in other areas, especially you still have family in that Hungarian majority areas, not because you're living in Serbian predominant area in Novi Sad, but you know how they live in those areas. How is it for Hungarian community now in north of Vojvodina? How they live there? Are they integrated? Do they all speak Serbian or just focus on their native tongue and that's it?
I would say like 10, 15 years ago, it was more common for the Serbian people to learn Hungarian when they lived in a smaller town where it was mostly predominantly Hungarian people.
Oh, really? I didn't know this.
Now it's not a thing anymore, or I don't think it's that common. That let's say the little kids or the young people would speak Hungarian, because again there's a lot less Hungarians now in Vojvodina anyway. So the Serbians are taking over those smaller towns and villages where there was, let's say, mostly Hungarians. Now it's maybe 50-50 or more Serbians. So they don't have it's not necessary for the Serbians anymore to learn Hungarian. But let's say when I was little and we went to Senta and I would go into the supermarket, I could just talk to whoever in Hungarian because everybody knew in the supermarket. Or I don't know, the post office or the farmer's market or wherever you would go, you can just speak Hungarian because it's predominant. What did I say? Hungarian, whatever. So you could speak Hungarian to most people on the street, wherever you went. Now, not so much anymore.
I'm guessing there's some trend. I can relate to that situation in Istria that Mika, so my girlfriend, told me that before locals could understand Italian, but after years and years, lots of Croats from other regions of Croatia came, and they have the need to learn Italian. So maybe also for Vojvodina, as I know, a lot of Serbians are coming from other areas, but maybe local Serbs that have been there for centuries, they kind of get used to speaking Hungarian or even German, especially in Banat area. And I guess the new ones are just coming in and just not wanting to readapt or to a situation because it's changing, unfortunately.
As for your actual question, that was about if Hungarians learn Serbian, I have to say, unfortunately, no. If it's a predominantly Hungarian small town or even a village, the young kids even don't learn Serbian. So they learn Serbian in elementary school, in high school. It's a mandatory subject to learn Serbian. And I think when I was little, we had maybe 2 times a week Serbian classes. But because they don't have who to talk to, they just don't learn because, of course, their parents speak with them in Hungarian. And actually, next to Novi Sad, there are 2 really small towns, Bački Jarak and Temerin. And Bački Jarak is predominantly Serbian people, and then Temerin is predominantly Hungarian people. And the kids that would come from Temerin to Novi Sad to high school, the kids that I went to class with in high school, they barely knew how to say, give me a burek at the bakery. So they barely knew how to order, basic things at a bakery or go to the supermarket or even, say what their name was. But that's really unfortunate.
Yeah, and they're fascinating. They're really close to Novi Sad. Everyone around them is Serbian, and yet they're like living in an island of their own. I still don't feel like people should pressure them. It's for them themselves. If they're going to interact with somebody else, it's kind of useful. But if they can be sustainable in their own community and be I don't know. It's for me. It's their community. It's lots of people like say these things about Albanians in Kosovo nowadays. Yeah, they all know Serbian. Like, how would they know Serbian if they're young? They don't watch movies, videos. Nothing is in Serbian. How would they know? And they still have the stereotypes. Yeah, they all know for sure. Like, yeah. They're just pretending they don't know.
Yeah, and a lot of like my aunts and uncles in Senta, they all have Hungarian cable TV. So I don't know if they are, but I don't think they have the big cable companies there. They do, but they also have like a smaller cable company that is tailored to the region or the city, and that cable company has the Hungarian TVs from Hungary. So that's what they have, and they watch Hungarian TV. So that's an additional thing where you would not watch the Serbian TV and would need to, I don't know, read the subtitles, although Serbian TV doesn't have Hungarian subtitles. But you don't have the interaction as a kid even with the TV, where you would learn, and a lot of us learned, let's say, English with the TV when we were little.
Yeah. I mean, still, it's their decision. They could do it. They couldn't do it. It's a free country. They pay taxes. They live there. They have properties, and they're there. I mean, it's their decision. It will be good to know, but still, you cannot force them on top of them. You shouldn't.
Yeah.
It's their decision. I get it. And unfortunately, you said demographics is changing. Lots of them are leaving. I'm guessing lots of them are leaving, especially after 2004, after Hungary became part of EU.
Actually, no.
Even before,
Let's say my aunt and uncle left when I was maybe a year old. So in the 90s, a lot of people left. Yeah, in the 90s. A lot of people, of course, had the chance to get Hungarian citizenship. I don't know when that year was, to be honest. I completely forget. So a lot of Hungarian.
They became part of EU, so I'm guessing.
Yeah,
afterwards.
but I don't think it was 2004. It was much after that when we got the chance to get Hungarian citizenship.
Oh, really? Not before?
No.
I know there was like a case. You also talked about this. It was a lot. We filmed this on it. It was like a chit chat between previous guests, George Ostojic, because he's from Bečej, so again from Vojvodina. He will kill me for this. I think he's from Novi Bečej, because there's Stari and Novi Bečej. New and old one.
There's two different ones. Yeah,
and they rivalry. I would just say Bečej for the sake of my life. Yeah. And he said afterwards, I guess as well, it became like a popular thing, and people, also of them, not only Hungarians but other communities, were using there for the advantage. Although they didn't know Hungarian, you can still have this. Although you're not Hungarian, but if you prove that your ancestor lived in the area of older Hungary part of Austro-Hungarian Empire, you can have it.
Yeah. So now we go back to the history lesson. Because Vojvodina used to be part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, Hungary still realizes that there are a lot of Hungarians left outside of the border of Hungary, current Hungary, and that's why I am born in Vojvodina as a Hungarian. And of course, a lot of other people as well, and also in Romania and Slovakia and so on and so on. That's why basically Hungary decided to give citizenship to people who could prove that their grandparents or great-grandparents were born in on the territory of Austro-Hungarian Empire. So a lot of Serbians also used this opportunity to get those papers and get the proof that their ancestors were born there, and get the citizenship. At the beginning, when they started this, the Hungarian government didn't realize that this might become an issue, because that
lots of people
that are not Hungarian are getting the Hungarian passport, and then they really made it, let's say, harder to get the passport or get the citizenship with a mandatory language
level of proficiency.
knowledge.
Yeah.
So then, of course, Serbians started learning Hungarian, which is great. I mean, I'm all for it. And a lot of people did manage to learn quite a bit of Hungarian and pass that kind of test that they would give when, and I don't think it was like an actual test where you would sit down and fill out something, but you would go in and the person who you needed to talk to in order to give your paperwork over, they would realize like, hey, you have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. And yeah, you don't know Hungarian, so sorry.
Yeah. Eventually they raised the bar. It was some level of, I don't know, really basic A2 or whatever, they could do it. And there's like a story, I don't know if it's like a real thing or just like I don't know, a made up thing. I think some minister from Hungary came in a consulate in Subotica, and there were like 20 people there, and there was like a story that they just learned by heart 20 different sentences, and that was enough to pass. And as they were lined up, he was giving them officially their documents, their passports, and he approached some guy, and I'm just making this up how it went up, like I don't know by heart how it went, but it was like he said, okay, here, thank you so much, congratulations. And he said, lovely weather today. And the guy, the Serbian guy that learned 20 phrases, he said, yeah, I'm 15 years old. And like, sorry, what did you say? Yeah, my mother plays tennis. Like, sorry, what? And that's just random stuff. And like, oh, okay, so you need to hire the level because this thing's pointless. And that's just a rumor. I don't know if it's true or not. I like to be, because it's really funny.
Yeah, I haven't heard this. I heard something different. Something like somebody was going to their first appointment to, you know, hand over all the paperwork, and the person who was sitting at the desk or whatever said, could you please shut the door behind you when the person entered the room, and they didn't understand what they were saying. So I mean, a door is a basic word in every language. So maybe just learn door, understand that they're talking about the door, and you probably need to close it because you left it open. So yeah, at that point, the woman or man or whoever was taking over the paperwork was like, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. You're not passing. You know, you can just go out and then close the door behind you.
Probably both of those stories are true, and there are hundreds of more stories, and they just made a decision, okay, we need to hire up the bar. And then I know lots of people are just going through with those papers. When they go through Hungary, they're using their Serbian passports because they're afraid they'll be taken away. And then when they go into EU, they pull out their Hungarian passports, and now voila, EU is here.
Yes, I heard of this as well. I don't know if they will take your passport or not, but
there's like unofficial or official thing. But yeah, nevertheless, Hungary wanted to allow its so to say its kids to have free access as all the Hungarians in Hungary have, which is like a good initiative, not really good planned, and people used it in their advantage, some of them. So yeah, but you mentioned there are lots of Hungarians, and there's also a funny story, or actually a realistic story, after the World War I and the dissolvement of the Hungarian Empire, and the Hungary became really smaller. It's the country, they say Hungary was surrounded by itself, because all around Hungary there were Hungarians living outside. So, and it's the case more or less today, not so much in Croatia and Slovenia, but the thing is, lots of them, as we said, in Vojvodina, in Serbia, Romania, Slovakia. Do you have interactions as a community in Serbia with Hungarians in other countries, or just in Hungary, or how is it?
To be honest, me, not really, but a lot of young kids go to like folk dance, the Hungarian folk dance group, in Novi Sad and wherever in Vojvodina. And they usually, you know, travel around Hungary or Romania or wherever there is a competition, or I don't even know. I didn't go to folk dance when I was a kid. I was really like, no, this is not for me. I don't like it. So I didn't do it. But if I would
you didn't play Czardas?
No. I mean, like every folk dance, the basic steps are pretty easy. So you get the hang of it for, you know, going to a wedding, you're going to be fine. But
I learn it every time.
yeah.
I forget it every time, and then restart over and over again. Like, which is always basics. I just, yeah, don't mind.
Yeah, so I don't really know many Hungarians that are outside of Vojvodina or Hungary,
Hmm.
but I do have friends that went to the folk dance thing and traveled a lot and met a lot of people like that. Yeah.
Hmm. But besides, okay, so Hungarian communities organize those folk dances and exchanges, and plus allowing passports. Is Hungary doing also some additional thing for Hungarians in Vojvodina, opening schools or some things?
Yes. So um, I don't really know a lot of it
Hmm.
because I'm not, let's say, participating in
Hmm.
these things, but mostly it's um, based on, I don't know, like political connections and what the
Yeah.
Hungarian government wants to provide for the Hungarians here. But
Hmm.
one very good initiative is um, a fund of some kind where Hungarians, a lot of the times, farmers that would need, let's say, a new tractor or something like that,
Hmm.
they have this fund that is operating in Vojvodina where you can apply for some kind of grant or maybe it's
Yeah,
a
grant.
loan even. I have
Yeah.
no idea because I'm not a farmer and I don't need a tractor. But yeah, so these things are funded by the Hungarian government. Also for, let's say, small businesses. So you don't have to be a farmer. You can be a small business and you need, I don't know, some kind of machine or something like that. And you can apply for a grant and get funding for something that you would need.
Oh, interesting. Do they also
Yeah.
offer some scholarship programs for students?
Yes, actually, there is also good that you mentioned it. I completely forgot.
Hungaricum,
have you
right?
have you done your research?
A bit.
uh,
Come on, we're doing
uh,
our thing.
I don't know what's it called, to be
I think
honest.
it's Hungaricum something.
I don't remember, even though I got this
Oh,
scholarship. Yes, when
so
I was
grateful. So grateful
yes,
you are.
yeah. So I think the scholarship started somewhere around when I started to go to university, maybe a year before or the year after or that year, something like that. I just remember that I think it was the year after I started. And because of that, I could not get the scholarship. So for 4 years, I didn't get this, for not 4 years, for like 2 years, I didn't get the scholarship. Um, because I didn't have good grades enough or whatever it was. I don't remember.
Hmm.
But then, so there's actually two scholarships. One is for just the regular scholarship that you would get from government in Serbia as well. If you have good grades, you apply, and the
Hmm.
I don't know 1,000 best get the scholarship. So there was this one type of scholarship, and the second type was something like a mentorship type of thing, where you would be responsible for one to two, maybe five new university students that are first years that go to your faculty. So I went to the economics faculty. So the year that I became like a mentor, um, I think I had two students that were that year the first year of faculty,
Hmm.
and I basically got a scholarship for me so that I can help them integrate better into university, help them with whatever they would need for their studying, to get them more familiar with Novi Sad because they usually are from out of town, and
Hmm.
help them with, I don't know, materials for university and so on and so on, tips and tricks. So
Okay.
that was a really nice initiative, actually, where you would get sort of a reward to be a mentor to
That's
somebody.
nice.
Yeah.
There were also Hungarians, right?
Yes, 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 of
Oh,
course.
that's a good initiative to help each other out, and plus
Yeah.
you get rewarded. That's really nice. Speaking about Novi Sad, also was curious for me. Is there any like neighborhood with local Hungarians, or just spread out around the city?
Yes, there is a neighborhood. Dusan, did you do your homework?
No, actually, you told me this before. I just remembered. But for
Okay.
audience to know.
Yeah, there is a part of Novi Sad that's called Telep, or in Hungarian it's called Telep, and Telep
Big
in
difference.
Hungarian, yeah, it's Telep or Telep.
Oh, okay. Yeah?
Yes. So this part of so basically Telep means a place or things, something along those lines. In English, I couldn't really translate it really properly.
Okay.
I don't really know why that's the name that it got, but the name is Hungarian, and lots of Hungarian people lived in that part of town. Not so much anymore. Of course, there is still Hungarians there, but there's also Hungarians, of course, everywhere in Novi Sad. And I never lived in Telep, so I don't know. Yeah.
I see. But you mentioned this Hungarian language, and we know all that it's really hard. Is there any famous borrowed words in Serbian, Serbo-Croatian, those languages from Hungarian? I know there are a few at least, besides Čardaš for the song itself.
That's a
but
dance. No, that's a dance.
It's
That's
dance.
color. Yeah.
Yeah. Are there any other ones that you know, or you just get used to them?
I mean, I don't know whose word is vachora. That's a thing that we both use. I don't know if it's
Ulica for ulica for street.
Yeah.
Varoš, also.
Yeah,
Varoš,
that's definitely Varoš.
Turkish. Maybe Turkish.
Really?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Okay.
Yeah. It's also for me when I hear some words in Hungarian that I know it because of my language. I don't know who took it from who, and I don't know how it sounds. It doesn't sound Slavic, so I don't know which one he took it. So just for people to know. Okay. And the language, as I said, it's really hard for us that don't speak it, and it's not, cannot be connected to any other language, unfortunately. Are there any dialects specific for Vojvodina Hungarians and other Hungarians? Can you understand each other?
Yes. I mean, there is dialects for sure. There's even a dialect for Banat and a dialect for Bačka. So even in Vojvodina, Hungarians would speak differently. And of course, then Hungarians in Hungary, I don't know, in Budapest or down the south near Szeged, they would also speak differently. I mean, you would understand each other, but it's just a different accent, let's say.
Okay.
And of course,
so much different. Like if you go from Subotica to Vranje, you hear the difference, but you still speak the same language. You understand each other. Not like in Croatia. If you go around Zagreb area, you go to the islands, it's really hard to understand each other. But
no, you would definitely understand each other.
Okay.
Yeah, you would. There is also, I mean, of course, there's some words that one would use here and the other wouldn't use there, or they're unfamiliar with it. But yeah, I mean, you can definitely understand each other. Yeah.
Okay. So, and you know also about Hungarians in other areas in Slovakia, Romania.
They also have their own dialect for sure. Different accent. Yeah.
I heard the ones in Romania are really specific, like they're like also isolated in the Carpathian, so the only hilly Hungarian, so to say.
The redneck Hungarians, you mean?
Didn't say that. They said just living in the hills. In the hills.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I actually only been to Timișoara in Romania, and for like a very short period of time. So I didn't really meet any Hungarians from Romania, so I wouldn't know how their accent sounds like. But definitely there's also different accents there. I've heard a lot of people say that the Romanian Hungarian accent is really nice and really pretty and clear. But also, yes, definitely there are parts of Romania that are more like simple and would have, let's say, a heavy accent that is not that easy to understand. Yeah.
On top of that, you have also influences from other local cultures. I mean, in Slovakia, you have probably some borrowed words from Slovak language. In for instance, maybe večera, dinner in Hungarians, or is it like a standard Hungarian?
Yeah,
For
večera
dinner?
is a normal
Standard.
word. Yeah.
Okay, so in
Yeah.
Budapest they say the same.
Yeah.
Oh, so maybe there is some connection. You never know.
I don't know.
Good. You should discover. Or for audience, please write to us to learn something new. I would also like to know, or Onat and I would like to know about in Vojvodina. Do people tend to mix a lot between local communities, not only Serbian and Hungarian, but there's also Slovak community, Russian community, and so on? Do they also mix?
Yeah, I would say yes, definitely.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vojvodina sounds like a New York of the Balkans, like every kind of community there.
That sounds nice.
That sounds nice. Unfortunately, it's not so developed.
Well, New York is not that nice, but
it's dirty,
well, I mean, I like New York.
Lea went to the US, so she also spent some time there working. Yeah, so you would say it's only it's like in terms of connections of different people, like yeah.
I also want to ask about that period of your life, like being in US as a Balkan kid, because you were in. I heard that you were in US when you were in high school. I also studied
1 year to I went 1 year to high school to the US, and I mean, I was from everywhere except from Serbia, like Siberia, I don't know, Saudi Arabia, everything. Like they've never heard of Serbia. Yeah, I don't know if it was Syria. Maybe it was also Syria. But
for sure,
yes, definitely Siberia was the first association, and everybody would ask me like, "Yeah, is it cold where you came from?" I'm like, "It's warmer than here, man," because I went to Washington State, which is quite up north, so it's usually quite much colder there. But yeah, I mean, I had a great time, and everybody was like really curious of the exchange student that came to their school, and they were all really nice to us. I think there was about 10-ish people from all over the world. And it just so happened that me and another girl were in the same high school, but we didn't know each other. She's from Belgrade. We didn't know each other previously, and we didn't even go through the same study program to the US. So it was a completely random accident that we ended up in the same school, two girls from Serbia. But yeah, I mean, everybody was really nice to us at school. There, I did not get made fun of. So
I see.
Yeah.
You went, twice. You went for A-Smile program once in high school, and then you also went to work and travel, right?
Yeah, correct. Yes. And for the work and travel, I was in Colorado. So it's basically middle of America.
Did you travel around?
Oh yes, I mean my plan for the work and travel was to go and travel. The work was so less important.
Of course.
But and even we I think we cut our working time short for like maybe a week or two, because you're supposed to work for like 4 months, and then the 5th month you can travel, or maybe 5 months and then 6 months and the 1 month you travel. I can't remember, but yeah, we cut it short for like a week or maybe 10 days to go and travel. So I went with a friend, and we went from Colorado all the way to LA with a car. We met 2 actually Croatian girls there, and the 4 of us rented a car, went through I think Arizona. We went to the Grand Canyon, then we went to Vegas, to San Diego, LA.
That's a nice route.
Yeah.
Those 2 were also work and travel?
Yeah, the 2 girls worked with my friend at like an ice cream shop, and I worked at a little cafe / theater. Yeah. And there was actually a lot of Serbians and actually a lot of Ukrainians in our small town. So all the work and
local
travel.
Ones.
No, the work and travel
Okay.
kids. All
Okay.
the work and travel kids were basically from Serbia and Ukraine, and I don't know how these two Croatian girls ended up there, but maybe some Romanians we met as well, work and
Mhm.
travel students, but it was really dominated with the Serbian kids and the Ukrainian kids. So
Who knows? They got connected. My friend from Croatia, he went with Bulgarians, quite a lot of Bulgarians. Don't know. There was a patch like that, and they just sent them, or who knows. But you, with your Hungarian passport, I guess you have rights to like stay there if you want. You don't need visa, or you need visa, but like it's kind of like liberated for Hungarian citizens. Or am I wrong?
it's actually changed recently.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went both times to the US, I traveled with my Serbian passport.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I first went, I didn't have my Hungarian passport. And when I went for the second time, it was, let's say, I thought it was easier or made more sense to go with the Serbian passport because you needed to prove a bunch of things that you're a student, you still have exams that you need to come back to, so on and so on, so that they know that you won't stay in the US, but after the work and travel is up, then you will come back to Serbia. So it made more sense for me to apply with the Serbian passport. And then at one point with the Hungarian passports, they or basically for the EU, you only need to fill out some kind of form to have like a pass to the US for travel, for tourism.
Mm-hmm.
But they changed something about those passports that are for people that have not been born in Hungary. So I don't know
Oh.
how they figured out like who wasn't born in Hungary and who was. Basically, the people who got their passport, the Hungarian passport, later on
Mhm.
with this thing that the government was
Issuing.
supplying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's something that a lot of these people went to the US and stayed there, or what's the reason behind it. But yes, for those people now, or so like people like me, I actually need a US visa. The few years I didn't need a US visa, I didn't go to the US.
Uh-huh.
So now I need a US visa again. So it doesn't really matter if I'm going to get it with the Serbian passport or the Hungarian one, I still need a visa.
Well, man,
Yeah.
it's a really selective discrimination. So Hungarian
Yes.
citizens can, but the ones with Hungarian passport outside Hungary cannot.
Yes.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's. I mean, I know they also forbade at one point to Polish people also because there were too many of them staying there, not coming back. So it's changing. Now they allowed the Croatians, and I guess at one point they will also forbid them by the level of rate that they're living. So yeah, who knows? Interesting. Um, Talking about those passports and all those things and politics and everything, how are the Hungarians in Vojvodina leaning in terms of politics? Like on which side, or mostly, or it's mixed, or it's quite left or right? Do you have like a feeling?
Do they like
Um,
Vucic?
Basically, yeah, yeah. Maybe they like Orban and they like Vucic. I guess it goes both ways since they're
um,
pals.
yes. Well, I mean, I would say a lot of Hungarians in Vojvodina are really grateful to, get the opportunity to get a Hungarian citizenship and passport, because a lot of people have relatives that live in Hungary. So it makes it easier for them to just go and visit. Or a lot of Hungarian kids wanted to go to, I don't know, a high school or university in Hungary. So it makes it easier for them
Mm,
because they have a Hungarian citizenship. So they're like straight on integrated into society. It's not, a big issue to get, I don't know, visas and whatever for traveling to Hungary or studying there or whatever.
mm,
So for that, I mean, I'd say all Hungarians are really grateful to Orban because he's the one who initiated this. Before he came to power, another there was another prime minister who was like really against it. So because it's like not a new thing, it's not something that Orban came up with, that we should maybe give Hungarians living outside of Hungary's borders citizenship to Hungary. But yes, the previous administration in Hungary was really against it. So yes, I'd say Hungarians in Vojvodina are very grateful because of this to Orban. If those things, in the last 10 years, have those feelings changed? I don't know. I don't vote in Hungarian elections because I could, because I am a Hungarian citizen, and we do get actually papers mailed to us, so we could vote per mail in the Hungarian elections. But I don't do it because I don't think it's fair, or I don't think it makes sense for me to decide the fate of Hungarian people living in Hungary, even though it's just me and my one vote, but still. So I vote in the Serbian elections because I live here.
It's impacting you, yeah.
If I'm going to ever move to Hungary and live there, then I will definitely vote there, and I will not be voting back home. Although I know that a lot of Serbian people do vote in Serbian elections, even if they've been living abroad for 10, 15 years. So that's my thought. But if they're more left or right, I'd say maybe they used to be more left and now they're more leaning towards the right. But that's just, how times go and propaganda is. And, yeah.
Reflecting Orban's politics, because he
Exactly.
gave them something and they're just consciously or unconsciously just following that pattern. Yeah.
The really, let's say, funny or strange thing is that Orban, when he was a young politician, he used to be very left, and now he's very right. So things change.
Vucic was really right, and then
Now
he at some
he's
point
still right.
yeah, but he stopped at one point, nothing,
Yeah.
and now he's still right. Yeah, so just
Trump was also a Democrat once.
really,
Oh, that's true. Yes.
Why do you know this?
When he was a young lad.
Young
That was a
lad,
long
so
time ago.
70 years ago. Yeah. And the as we will not mention, unfortunately, Vucic, how is the feeling of Hungarians towards local Serbian politics?
I'm sorry.
It needs to be asked. Somebody needs to do it. So thank you. It was you, not me.
What was the question?
What is their feeling towards the local Serbian politics? And are they neutral? Are they just looking at their own business? They're not being involved. I know lots of times they use them for some political actions.
I mean, we do have a strong Hungarian party. We do have multiple Hungarian parties technically, but there's one that is, let's say, the dominant one that gets into the parliament in Belgrade, in the Serbian parliament, and also in the Vojvodinian parliament. Because we didn't mention, Vojvodina also has it. Vojvodina is an autonomous region of Serbia, and it also has its own government. And so it also has its own parliament. So yes, the Hungarian party does get into both the Vojvodinian and the Serbian parliament, and they very often support the politics or the agenda of Vucic, predominantly because they need to support the ruling party in order to get, any kind of
support for themselves.
Like the Hungarian party, tries to push Hungarian issues forward that the minority people here have. So in order to get anything done, they need to work with whoever is in power. They do their best.
That's normal. Most of minority parties, not just in Serbia, everywhere around, they're just attaching themselves to the ruling party, except when they're being pushed by the ruling party, then they're against it. Yeah, when they're not, then just lean because they don't want to make enemies. But why would they? In that case, it's a natural process. Totally understand. I want to ask you before when you talked about mixed marriages. Do you know examples of people being half Hungarian, half Serbian, and how do they, if you know, are they fluent, most of them, in both languages, or it depends on the surroundings?
So I do have more than one friend with parents that are mixed marriage. So either, one is Hungarian, the other is Serbian, and these friends of mine speak both languages from when they were little kids. So with one parent, they speak one of them, the other parent speaks the other one. So it's not any kind of issue. Both of these people that I'm thinking of right now, they both actually went to Hungarian elementary school and high school. Maybe the other one went to Serbian high school. I can't remember at this point, but they actually even studied in Hungarian, even though, let's say, I think both of their fathers were Serbian, interestingly enough, but they went to Hungarian elementary school and high school. What was the reason behind that? I have no idea. The parents, or the parents and the kid decided together, however that works. But yes, most of the time, well, not most of the time, the people that I know personally and are close to me, they do speak both languages, but often what would happen is, I meet somebody through friends or whatever when I'm out and partying or something, and always there was people always like, oh yes, I have a German grandmother, or I have a Hungarian grandmother, and my grandmother this and my grandmother that, and she spoke Hungarian and I never learned, and I'm like, yay for you.
So I heard this as well.
It's so common. It's so common. They're so proud that their grandmothers are Hungarian, but they literally don't know a single word because their parents chose not to teach them Hungarian, and the kid did not spend enough time with the grandmother, or usually that person, when they were little, they spent a lot of time with their grandparents, so they learned. But usually those kids, the grandmother was, let's say, Hungarian, and the grandpa was already Serbian. So their parents were already from a mixed marriage, and then they married a Serbian, and then
it got dissolved.
The dilution is happening over time, and unfortunately, a lot of these things happen, and those people are usually very, let's say, sad or disappointed that they didn't learn Hungarian, but they're still super proud, especially when they meet a Hungarian that actually knows and speaks it. They're like, yes, my grandma was also Hungarian. I'm like, yay, good for you.
Yeah. Interesting enough, I also heard a lot of stories like that, and for some reason, most of those mixed cases, the mothers are Hungarian. I'm guessing it just goes by the way, like that's the mix how it goes usually. And they also mention a lot of times Hungarian grandmas. I have a friend, I think I told you this anecdote privately. He has also a grandma from Senta, the place of your fathers, and I asked him, do you speak Hungarian with each other? He said, she doesn't speak to me, I don't speak to her, she only speaks Hungarian to me when she's cursing me. That's why he knows Hungarian only through cursings. So that's his story. And the other story I have, when I was driving a car, I think I also told you this, I was doing a BlaBla car, going from Peć, so somewhere in Hungary, to Novi Sad and to Belgrade, and I stopped. So one girl was like responding. I said, "Hey, can you pick me up in Subotica on your way to Belgrade, Novi Sad?" Yeah, sure. And I stopped, and the girl approached and said, "Actually, it's not for me; it's for my grandma." I said, "Oh, okay, no problem at all. Hop in." And there was one old lady, Hungarian lady from Subotica, Valeria. I still remember her name. She was really nice, and she could not speak really properly Serbian, but nevertheless, I was not forcing her to speak anything. But despite this, she wanted to talk with me. So she gave her best to talk. Of course, Balkan, Hungarian in general, grandmas need to talk a lot. And she was talking to me a lot. And I was just also trying to say some Hungarian words that I know, trying to interact. And she's like, with a thick Hungarian accent, said, "Oh, you should learn more Hungarian. You're really good with this. You should marry a Hungarian woman." I said,
And you're doing now a Balkan accent in English.
not doing Balkan one. I was starting with Hungarian and I lost it. Sorry. I would just stick to English. And she was just saying, you should marry a Hungarian. I have a granddaughter. She will be perfect. I said, no, thank you. Thank you very much. I already settled. But thank you for it. When I left her at Novi Sad, she got up and then her, how you say, son-in-law, came in. He was Serbian, and then he paid for her, and then she started hugging me and saying, "Oh, thank you very much." And the son-in-law was like, "What did you do to her?" Like, nothing. I was just responsive. I guess she needed also some attention. Nobody was talking back to her, I guess. But it was a really nice experience. She said, like, you should marry a Hungarian, and yeah, she was like, okay.
Did you take pictures from her wallet, like grand
yeah,
grandkids,
her grandchild,
grandchance, yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't, but it was, unique experience. And again, being a Hungarian grandma, Hungarian, so it's kind of like goes in this direction. Also mixed marriage for sure. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Do you have any more questions?
Not right now.
It will come eventually. I wanted to ask you, so how do you see the Hungarian heritage nowadays, not only in Serbia, but around ex-Yugoslavia, where we usually gravitate towards, like in architecture, in movies, in whatever? Could you mention a few notable things that we not appreciate and we see them all the time in Serbia, Croatia, and so on?
Okay. I think mostly the architecture is that comes to my mind, and that is very apparent, that you can really see in Novi Sad or even in Belgrade, or Subotica, of course. The styles of buildings, let's say Novi Sad, the city center, Dunavska and Zmajovina, these two pedestrian streets are lined with these little houses that have this specific style that you would see in Budapest in a lot of the quite big buildings, actually. And those kinds of buildings are present in Belgrade as well, maybe not, let's say, that much. And also in Subotica or any other. Yeah, exactly.
Part of Belgrade,
Especially
the rooftops. I love the colorful rooftops.
The colorful rooftops, let's say the what we call cathedral, but it's actually just a church in the city center of Novi Sad. I don't know why we call it a cathedral. It's stuck because it's big, but it has this very colorful tile for the rooftop of the church, and it's made from Zsolnai ceramics, which is like really famous from Pécs, from Pécs in Hungary.
Or Petri for some people in Serbian.
Yeah, Petri in Serbian. And the synagogue in Subotica also has this ceramic tile for
town hall as well.
In Subotica.
Yeah, town hall as well is really nice.
Yeah, true. So basically, a lot of like really pretty, really fancy buildings, usually like churches, town halls, things like that, have this this Zsolnai tile that is really famous. Not that, like, I don't know if I could say like really expensive, but like it's not cheap for sure. And it's really pretty. It's artisan, made by hand, whatever. It's really worth even visiting Pécs and going to the museum where you can see a bunch of these ceramics that they make, because they don't only make tile, they make everything else as well. And a lot of Art Nouveau buildings, especially in Subotica, that are these flower motifs and really colorful as well. So that's that's a specific Hungarian secession style, Rococo or Art Nouveau. They call it a bunch of different names. But yeah, all of these architecture things were basically left because of Hungarian influence, and
Also
they
in
are
Osijek,
really pretty.
yeah, they look amazing. Also in Osijek in Croatia, Osijek, Zagreb, Slavonski Brod, Varaždin, it's also was part of a Hungarian part of the empire. You can see it everywhere. It's amazing. The tiles of the government building of the seat of government of Croatia has those famous tiles on top. But in a looking of a Croatian coat of arms, of course, but it's completely, it's so typical Hungarian style there. You can see it. It's really beautiful. And you can also see in Hungarian food, famous goulash in people making in all ex-Yugoslavian. But Onat have some arguments for goulash.
No. Actually, in the first episode, I misunderstand that, because there's also a dessert, goulash, which is like made by milk. I thought Velkar was talking about that. So that's why I said it might be Turkish. But goulash is different.
Goulash is
What is this dessert? Sure. I like desserts much more than
that's like
savory thing.
Sutlach.
Okay.
It's much different, a bit more different, but yeah, it's called goulash.
It
also has like a rose,
rice.
Rose.
It's a rice with rose water or something. It's like a rosy taste.
Yeah.
It's different. Like, okay.
Sounds
with like layers. Okay, I need to stop.
We got at least the gist of it. Okay, it's good. But yeah, we mentioned architecture, food, in music. Everybody knows Chardash dance, as we mentioned a couple of times before. Language, there's some influence. What else? Actors and musicians. I only know one actress in ex-Yugoslavia, Eva Ras. And she's a really good example nowadays. She got a bit wacky, to say the least. But you know,
Louis C.K.'s grandfather was Hungarian.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There are lots of
Jewish.
Hungarians in Jewish Hungarians in the US and abroad, quite a lot.
Yeah.
Do you know some other artists in ex-Yugoslavia or some famous Hungarian, Lea?
I mean, artists here, not really.
Not really, no. Probably there. We need to do research.
Probably.
It's not on top of my mind. I know that the famous singer Zdravko Čolić was singing about Majarica. It's the name of the song. Hungarian girl.
And Đorđe Balašević also has Devojka sa čardaš nogama, girl with the čardaš legs. Yeah,
to playing the čardaš, and he also lots of his songs.
And he's from Novi Sad, Đorđe Balašević. So.
Yeah, he was famous, and lots of his songs were also connected with Vojvodina, and also mentioning lots of Hungarian stuff in his songs. So he was really, and as Onat said, when you mention New York, you're right when it comes to the mixture of people. It's the most mixed area, I guess, in the whole Balkans. It's predominantly Serbian, but you have Slovaks, Russians, Croatians, Hungarians, Romanians, Bosniaks to some extent, Germans. I think there are officially 19 minorities groups, and 6 of them have official languages. So you can also find Novi Sad. 7. So you can find in Novi Sad.
I couldn't list it all for you. Yeah.
If you can,
but it's
our audience.
Because there is 7 official languages in Vojvodina. All the local government buildings. Let's say if you go to the city hall, you would have a plate that says this is the city hall. And you have this plate in 7 different languages. And all of the government buildings have, the name of whatever this government building is in all 7 languages. And I think that's really, really cool.
That's a richness, yeah, for sure. It should stay like that. I know some people from Croatia came to visit Novi Sad. They were like, why is there so many languages here on this? Like, because, Vojvodina has a really good local constitution, and they're really trying to integrate all the communities, local schools and languages. Like, what? Yeah, there should something be like that in Croatia, but it isn't. But and then Serbia is not so developed in their eyes. For some individuals, unfortunately, because again, it's because of the education system. It's not because of them, and most of them that have those comments are young people. So that's why. Yeah, but again, talking about Vojvodina, it's a really rich place in terms of cultural differences, and it should be preserved. It's a richness that's really sticking out and should be more talked about. Yeah.
You mentioned the Croatians, and I just remembered that it's also like pretty unique that in the Catholic Church you would have two different what is it called in English?
Yeah, I know what you mean. When they have a mass
Services.
services, yeah.
Yeah, mass is in German. Yes.
Yeah, so yeah.
So
And
they
misa
have
in our language, yeah.
yes. So they have in the Catholic Church a service in Hungarian, and they also have service in Croatian. So and they usually like write one after the other. So that's also
nice.
unique. Like two different languages use the exact same church because they're all Catholic and that's where their church is. So
And that's how it should be. I mean, people,
yeah.
it should be open to anyone. Okay, it takes a lot of time for all of them, but it's the same like in Istria. Coming back to Istria again with local Italians, we have also services in both Italian and Croatian separately. And sometimes because local people know both languages, they sometimes mix because they don't have the time to go to the first or the second one. So they just come, it's the same text, but a different, different language. But it's a sort of uniqueness, a richness that should be preserved. And yeah, it's a really good thing.
So, where do you see the Hungarian community in Serbia, like in upcoming future?
Whew, you ask hard questions, man.
It's an open question, so you can say, I don't see it. Done. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, there is really a lot of initiative to try and preserve Hungarians in Vojvodina. And I mean, I see it directly with, let's say, my family. I have a lot of cousins that are sort of my age and a little bit older that live in Senta. And they all have kids, and they have at least 2 kids. Some of them have 3 kids. I have 0 kids. So I am lagging behind really, really badly. But they are here. They're living here. They intend to raise their kids and have their family here. They're not thinking about moving to Hungary. They're not thinking about moving to Europe, somewhere else. They're planning to be here with their kids until their kids decide whatever they want to do. So I think, we're somehow still here to stay. And hopefully, I mean, the community will be preserved for X amount of years in the future as well. So yeah, I think you'll see us in the next 50 years for sure.
I hope so. I mean, I share your point of view. Talking from a point of view of history, this region and regions around the Balkans, sorry, our audience, Balkans and far beyond, they're changing and shifting constantly. And in my case, as we said before, the richness of Vojvodina is not only the agricultural land, which is there for sure, but the mix of people, and they're all coexisting, not fighting each other, haven't fought each other for 200 years in that region luckily. And they should keep on living like this, no matter how it shifts, how it changed. It should just change what's theirs, and accept and appreciate what's others, go to each other's birthday parties, go to each other's, I don't know, weddings, whatever. Just be together and go to the future together. That's should be the main message.
Sounds good.
And hopefully to be like that. It's just not like a full bullshit, but it should be like that.
You should start with I have a dream.
I have a dream. I have a dream. I will sound again like a Balkan person, like Lea told me before. Like, she likes to trash talk me. Like, this episode she only did once. That's a surprise.
I'm nice.
Elsa will be proud. Not be proud of you, actually. Our mutual friend. Yeah, she would like that you did more.
She would not be proud of me.
Yeah, she would like that you do more pressing on me for sure. One direct question for you before we wrap this up. Usually people like to say, where do you see yourself in 5-10 years? Usually for HR interviews. I'm not going to ask you this.
You'll ask 5 hours.
Yeah, exactly, more or less. I'm going to ask you, like, where do you see yourself what would you like to learn new? to new challenge to have in your life? Like, what do you like to like new language? How do you like to become better Lea in the?
Oof. I mean, I always have some kind of sort of, project of working on myself going on. I just recently went back to learning Spanish, so I hope I'll
Nice.
continue with that. I mean, I'm not like super hyper focused on it. I'm just doing Duolingo, but it's a
Small step, but
small thing that you can just have a little bit of practice every day. I don't know. I think I want to focus, let's say, on my career and learning more of the thing that I'm doing currently, because I really see it as something that is going to be even more needed in the future, because we live in a digital age and companies need their data stored somewhere. So that's when I come in. I mean, we didn't really talk about my work, but it's not that important really for
It
our
is.
conversation that we were having. But yeah, I think just learning more and continuing with this path that I'm on. Yeah.
Step by step, day after day, something new will come in. You never know, but like, yeah.
I'm always open for new adventures.
That's a good thing, and people should look up to you. They should be always like that. You never know what's around the corner.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lea, so much. I believe you made your community proud, and also thank you for
Thank you.
as you really answered all of our questions and brought up your community to our audience to understand more where you come from, how people live in Serbia and around from your community. And yeah, it was really insightful, and hope people learned a lot of new stuff. Whenever they have some question, they can write to us, and we receive some comments. Feel free to answer them if you want.
Yeah,
if not, just
I
let them
will.
be. Yeah.
Thanks for having me. I mean, I had fun, and it was really an honor to have this conversation and maybe shed some light on the Hungarian community in Vojvodina. So it's a great. I really like your podcast and the idea that it represents that we should all be focusing on what brings us together in the Balkans and not focusing on what is different about us. So good job, guys. It's really a good. I think it's a really positive thing that you're doing. So keep it up.
Great, thank you. How do you say
Thank
thank
you,
you in
thank
Hungarian?
you.
I forget all the time.
Köszönöm.
Köszönöm. Yeah.
Köszönöm.
Yeah.
Well, even Onat said it correct. Usually Onat is
Yeah.
struggling with pronunciation. Yeah.
For some reason,
It was really easy.
Okay.
I feel like it kind of sounds Turkish.
Well, the Hungarian language and Turkish language kind of cousin languages. Like,
Yeah.
Far away, distant, far away. They come
No,
from the
but
same place.
the
they're
grammar
cousins,
is
yeah.
very similar. We're building sentence structures and words in a similar way, I think, with Turkish. I don't know how that happened, but that's what I heard.
No, coming back to history, your distant cousins from back from Ural areas and far
Yeah.
beyond, and coming through steppes and being nomadic and has some connections. Yeah.
Yeah, could be.
Maybe it will be some topic for next episodes. Who knows? To discover some new areas, new adventures. Yeah, let's see.
True.
Yeah. Thank you, Lea, once more. Have a
Thank
wonderful evening, night, day, and thank for all of your audience. Please click everything that you see on the screen. Yeah, just don't break it. And yeah, thank you, everyone, and see you next time.
Yeah, put some comments, and thank you for watching. Thank you, Lea, again.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
See you, everyone, on the next episode.
See you, everyone.
Bye.
Until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye. Ciao.